The seconds are out. The crowd is waiting. The boxers are getting ready to battle. Time for another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast with your presenter, Greg Rashid.
I want to say Swati Krop to everyone out there, which means hello and Thai. This is Greg Rashid with another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. Heard at your convenience anytime on the internet, be it YouTube, Facebook, wherever you listen to the program. But a lot of people listen every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Mountain Time on KUHSdenver.com. Created by the one and only Henry Archuleta. I want to say hi to all my friends in the Colorado region. I keep saying, I'm coming back there to visit. I am. I'll be there. I'll be there next year at some point, but I'll surprise everyone. You never know. But anyway, I'm here right now in Bangkok, enjoying it, loving being here, and loving doing another show. And I want to thank all the folks that are tuning in and every time I look at my analytics, I see a new country, and it's just so amazing. The Netherlands, it's like, my goodness. I'm just so thankful for this and that you're tuning in. And we're going to have, as always, a great show. And if you're new to the program, what we do here is, one, fantasy fights. We use various modalities, be it card and dice games, computer games. But today we're using Legends of Boxing 2 PC game created by Gary Brown to do our fight. And also, we talk about real boxing, what's going on in the real world of boxing and other combat sports. And at the end of the program, we do some music, because that's why I call this a boxing variety show. And we also have like debates on here. We have interviews with folks in the world of sports and boxing. And I say sports because sometimes we have folks who aren't in boxing, but they're interesting. I want to have them on here. We have authors on here, boxers, and just a little bit of everyone's fans of the show. We've had them on here. And also, from time to time, we have debates. And I want to say, because people have asked about where is he? The return of Knockout Nigel, not as a commentator, but he wants to do a segment now from time to time, just like Malcolm and Ella do as far as discussing different issues. So he and the ring card girl, Kiki, are doing a segment today on AI in boxing, and they won't tell me where they are. It's an undisclosed location. I don't know where they are, but I do know that he's not drinking any bubbly. But anyway, Knockout and Kiki, they're going to talk about AI and boxing. So take it away, Kiki and Knockout Nigel.
Boxing has always been about raw human skill and instinct, but artificial intelligence is stepping into the ring to revolutionize everything from judging to fighter safety. The question isn't if technology will change the sport, it's whether we're ready for what comes next.
That's fascinating timing because traditional boxing circles are pushing back hard against this tech invasion. What's driving this sudden push for AI in such a historically traditional sport?
Well, let me break down what's happening. We're seeing sensors that can track punch accuracy, power, and placement with incredible precision. The technology is already being tested in some major venues, and the early results are pretty eye-opening.
But doesn't that feel like it's stripping away the raw authenticity that makes boxing special?
You know, that's exactly what I thought at first. But here's the thing. The AI isn't trying to replace human judgment. It's actually enhancing our ability to see what's happening in the ring. Think about those controversial decisions we've all seen that have literally ended careers.
That's a fair point about bad calls, but what happens when the AI makes a call that everyone disagrees with?
Well, here's where it gets interesting. The latest systems are actually providing complete transparency in their decision-making process. Every scoring decision can be backed up with data that anyone can review.
So, if we're talking about transparency, how exactly does this technology work in real time?
The systems use multiple layers of analysis. They're not just counting punches. They're analyzing punch quality, ring control, defensive skills, and even fighter fatigue patterns. But here's what's really groundbreaking. They can detect concussion symptoms before they're visible to the human eye.
Oh, wow. So this is actually about fighter safety, too? That's not the angle I expected.
Exactly right. Recent studies show these AI systems can spot subtle changes in a fighter's movement patterns that might indicate head trauma. We're talking about potentially preventing those tragic cases where fighters take unnecessary damage.
But what about the cost factor? Won't this create an even bigger divide between wealthy gyms and smaller operations?
Here's something surprising. The cost of basic AI training systems has dropped dramatically. Some small gyms are already using smartphone-based applications that provide sophisticated movement analysis for a fraction of what high-end systems cost.
That's encouraging, but I'm still wondering about the soul of the sport. Boxing has always been about heart and determination.
Well, check this out. When they studied fights where AI analysis was available, they found it actually helped highlight those moments of extraordinary human achievement. It's like having a microscope that helps you appreciate the complexity of what these athletes are doing.
You know what this reminds me of? The resistance to instant replay when it was first introduced in other sports.
That's exactly the parallel we should be looking at. And just like with instant replay, we're seeing a hybrid approach emerge. The current proposals involve a fascinating three-tier system: real-time AI analysis, traditional human judges, and a rapid review system that flags significant discrepancies.
But what about the practical implementation? How do we ensure this technology is used fairly?
The solutions being proposed are pretty innovative. They're developing blockchain-based systems to secure fighter data, with strict protocols about who can access what information and when. It's like creating a digital vault for each fighter's performance metrics.
That sounds incredibly complex. Won't this make boxing less accessible to newcomers?
Actually, the opposite is happening. The technology is making it easier for new fans to understand the sport. When you can see the strategy and skill broken down in clear, visual ways, it helps people appreciate the nuances they might have missed.
So maybe this isn't just about improving the sport as it is, but about evolving it for the next generation?
Precisely. And here's what makes this moment in boxing history so fascinating. We're watching a centuries-old sport adapt and evolve while trying to preserve its essential character. It's like watching tradition and innovation duke it out in their own kind of match.
Well, you've actually made me see this whole debate in a new light. It's not really about technology versus tradition at all, is it?
No, and that's the key insight here. It's about finding that sweet spot where technology enhances rather than replaces the human elements that make boxing special. From what we're seeing in early trials, we're getting closer to finding that balance every day. This is Knockout Nigel with Kiki the Ring Card Girl. I will now return you to our Bangkok studios. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Kiki and Knockout, for that report. And I know a lot of you are so happy to hear his voice again, but I don't know where he is. I do know that he won't be commentating on any fights, because I found out when he went and saw the psychiatrist that the smell of arenas and just boxing in general, gyms, you name it, has a weird effect on him, and it makes him drink a lot of bubbly. But anyway, thank you so much for that again, Knockout and Kiki. And right now, we're going to get to the main event here. And this is this is middleweights, and they barely missed each other in real life. But it would have been an amazing fight if they had gotten together. But this is going to be an amazing fight, too. And this is what I'm talking about is middleweights, marvelous Marvin Hagler versus James Lights Out Toney, a classic. And I know some of you out there saying, Lights Out Toney, hey, he's just a slob. Some of you remember him as just being overweight, not in shape, but even then, he could battle. And I put him, as far as all-time boxers, period, in my top 20. You watch him, that guy, and had amazing shoulder roll, and he could do everything. And he would just stand in the middle of the ring, and you couldn't hit him. It was just amazing. Even when he was overweight, he was out of shape, but he had the skills. I think right now, there's some middleweights he could beat right now. You know, maybe some heavyweights, because he is over like 220-some pounds now, but I think he'd do it. He had those skills. They never go away. But anyway, we're going to get to this fight right now. The commentator is Isaac White. So sit back, get your favorite beverage, and listen to the fight between marvelous Marvin Hagler and James Toney on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Time to lace them up for another main event. Hi, this is Isaac White, your favorite boxing analyst. We're coming to you live from the electric atmosphere of the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the air is thick with anticipation and the scent of sweat and leather gloves. Tonight, folks, we've got a clash of titans in the middleweight division, a dream matchup that's got the boxing world buzzing like a hive of angry hornets. In one corner, the relentless stalker, the man they call Marvelous Marvin Hagler. In the other, the slick defensive wizard, James Lights Out Toney. Before we throw down the first punch, let's take a quick dive into the legacies of these two warriors, because you can't appreciate the magic without knowing the backstory. Starting with Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Oh, what a name, what a fighter. Born Marvin Nathaniel Hagler on May 23, 1954, in Newark, New Jersey, he turned pro on May 18, 1973, and built a career that was nothing short of legendary. Over 14 grueling years, Hagler racked up a record of 62 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws, with a whopping 52 of those victories coming by knockout. That's the kind of power that could crack concrete. He ruled as the undisputed middleweight champion for 7 straight years, from 1980 to 1987, defending his title an incredible 12 times, which stands as the second most defenses in division history. Remember that war with Thomas Hitman Hearns in 1985? The first round alone was a firefight. Hagler absorbed bombs and came back swinging like a freight train, stopping Hearns in the third. Then there was Roberto Hands of Stone Duran, whom he outpointed in a brutal 15-rounder, and that controversial split decision loss to Sugar Ray Leonard in 1987 that still has fans debating over cigars and whiskey. Hagler was a southpaw with an iron chin, a pressure fighter who switched stances mid-fight if it suited him, and his combos? Now, turning to the other side of the ring, James Toney, the man with the shoulder roll that could make a ghost miss, the jab like a piston, and a stare that says, "Come get some." Toney burst onto the scene in the early 90s, turning pro in 1988 after a stellar amateur career, and quickly became a nightmare for anyone in his path. We're talking a career spanning over 2 decades, with titles in 3 weight classes, middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight, plus a cruiserweight strap later on. His record? A testament to toughness, 77 wins, 9 losses, and 3 draws, with 47 knockouts. And get this, he was never stopped in 92 professional fights, absorbing punishment that would have folded lesser men. Toney's defensive genius is the stuff of masterclasses. Head movement so fluid it's like he's dancing with shadows, blocking shots with those broad shoulders while firing back with fast hands and respectable pop. Highlights? Highlights? Oh, where do I start? That 1991 middleweight title win over Michael Nunn, where he dropped him cold with a left hook. Or the tactical masterpiece against Vasily Girov in 2003, picking him apart round by round. And don't forget the upset knockout of Evander Holyfield in 2003. Lights Out lived up to his name, crumpling the heavyweight legend with a sneaky uppercut. Toney's always been the counterpuncher supreme, throwing volume while making opponents swing at air. And his trash talk, sharper than his right hand. The crowd here in Vegas is on their feet. Referee Kenny Bayless calls them to the center, gives the instructions. They touch gloves with respect, but you can feel the electricity. Hagler, 5 feet 7 inches of coiled fury and black trunks, southpaw stance locked and loaded. Toney, same height but broader, in gold and black, that trademark snarl on his face. The bell for round 1. It's like 2 grandmasters circling the board, probing for weaknesses. Hagler explodes out of his corner, stalking forward with that bob-and-weave menace, trying to cut off the ring early, feet shuffling like a predator in the grass. Toney, cool as ice, circles to his left, popping that piston jab, testing the distance, landing one flush on Hagler's guard that echoes off the mic. You hear the crowd murmur as Toney lets loose a flurry, 4, 5 punches in a blur, a left hook glancing off Hagler's temple while a straight right sneaks under the elbow. Hagler doesn't flinch. He presses, feints a southpaw lead and fires a compact right cross that Toney slips with that legendary shoulder roll. The Marvelous One resets, paws with his left to draw Toney in, but Lights Out is a ghost, dancing back and countering with a sharp uppercut that clips the chin. No damage, but the volume is all Toney. CompuBox has him at 28 punches thrown to Hagler's 14 already. Hagler lunges to close the gap midway through, but Toney pivots and tags him with a body shot that makes Marvin grunt. The round winds down with Hagler pinning Toney on the ropes for a brief moment, ripping a hook to the ribs. But Toney slips free like smoke. Bayless calls it, end of round 1, a tactical draw, but Toney's busier, folks. Hagler back to his corner, eyes like lasers, Toney smirking, knowing he dictated the pace. The Brockton blockbuster advances as round 2 begins, weaving under a jab and countering with a thudding left to the body that folds Toney just a hair. Ooh, you heard that one slap the canvas. Toney recovers quick, fires back a 3-punch combo. Jab, cross, hook. That peppers Hagler's face, reddening the cheek already. The crowd roars as Marvin cuts the ring sharper, forcing Toney toward the blue corner, where he unloads a southpaw straight that Toney blocks but follows up with a vicious hook, grazing the ribs. Toney's volume is relentless, though. He's circling, jabbing from angles, throwing 25 in this round alone while Hagler measures, stalking, throwing 18 but landing fewer. Toney feints low. Hagler bites and slips a right cross over the top. Crack. But Toney ducks and rips to the body in return. No one's hurt, but the chess is on. Hagler trying to herd him like cattle, Toney slipping the noose every time. Late in the round, Toney pins Hagler against the ropes with a jab barrage and sneaks a left hook home that snaps Marvin's head back. Bell sounds, and Toney struts to his stool, while Hagler shakes it off, trainer Goosen telling him, "Cut that ring, Marv, cut it." Toney edging it on activity, 10-9. We're underway in 3. Hagler feints a charge, draws Toney's jab and counters with a looping right that whistles past the ear. Toney laughs it off, circles wide, and unleashes hell. A 5-punch flurry, jab, jab, cross, hook, uppercut, that has Hagler covering up, the crowd on its feet as shots rain down like confetti. Marvin weathers it, bulls inside, and rips a double to the body, making Toney clinch for the first time. Bayless separates him, and Hagler presses, footwork impeccable, angling to trap Toney in the red corner. Lights Out explodes out with volume punches thrown now, landing a crisp straight right that stings Hagler's eye, swelling it just a touch. Hagler roars back, feints low and unleashes a left hook that Toney blocks but follows with a shoulder roll escape. It's back and forth chess, but Toney's pawing jab is dictating, keeping Marvin at bay while he picks spots for those counters. End of the round. Hagler lunges desperately, but Toney slips and tags him on the exit. Another 10-9 for the slickster, and the arena's buzzing. These guys are mirrors of each other. Round 4 begins. Hagler opens aggressive, charging like a bull, cutting off Toney's left side and landing a thudding body hook that echoes. Toney grimaces but fires back instantly, a jab-cross combo that reddens Hagler's nose. The Marvelous One doesn't blink. He circles, resets and stalks again, forcing Toney to the ropes where he unloads a 3-punch burst, left, right, left, that Toney parries with those magic shoulders. Volume from Toney surges midway. He's throwing in bunches, slipping Hagler's counters and landing a sneaky uppercut that clips the chin. Hagler presses harder, weaving under a hook and ripping to the midsection, but Toney pivots free, counters with a left hook to the temple that has the crowd gasping. No knockdowns, no wobbles, just pure tactical warfare. Hagler herding, Toney evading and outworking. Late round, Toney pins Hagler briefly and peppers the guard before the bell. Toney's busier again, taking it 10-9, but Hagler's pressure is building. Round 5 is underway. Toney jabs early, keeping Hagler at spear's length, then circles right into a southpaw lead that Marvin ducks and counters viciously. Right cross, left hook, both blocked, but the intent is clear. Hagler cuts the ring like a surgeon, forcing Toney toward neutral corner, where he unleashes a body assault, 3 hooks that make lights out reset his feet. Toney responds with fury, a 7-punch combo. Jab, cross, jab, hook, uppercut, cross, hook that has Hagler shelling up. The shots thudding off gloves and arms like drum beats. The crowd's electric, chanting, "Toney, Toney," as he outlands 12-6 in the flurry. Hagler bulls back in, clinches to slow the pace but breaks clean and fires a straight left, grazing the cheek. It's feint, counter, slip, chess at 160 pounds. Toney's volume at 35 thrown, Hagler 20, but Marvin's landing the harder shots. The round ends as both wink at each other. Round 6 begins and Hagler comes out weaving, slips a jab and rips a counter hook to the body that folds Toney's guard for a split second. Lights Out shakes it off, circles left, and peppers with jabs, 4 in a row, one sneaking through to puff Hagler's eye more. Marvin stalks relentlessly, footwork poetry, cutting angles to trap Toney on the ropes. There, he unloads, left to the head, right to the body, hook upstairs. Toney blocks most but takes a body shot flush that makes him wince. Toney explodes out, throwing 30 punches in the round, a cross landing clean on the jaw, while slipping Hagler's follow-up. No one's backing down, it's push-pull, with Hagler pressing the action and Toney making him pay for every inch. Late in the stanza, Toney feints a hook, draws the counter, and rips an uppercut to the chest. Bell. Toney's volume wins the round 10-9, but Hagler's wearing him down, folks. We're deep in the trenches now. Round 7. Hagler feints low, draws the jab, and counters with a vicious right cross over the top that Toney slips, but follows with a body hook that thuds home. Lights Out resets, circles wide, and unleashes a barrage. Jab, cross, double hook, landing 2 clean on Hagler's guard, the crowd roaring as volume hits 28 thrown. Marvin doesn't fold. He advances, cutting the ring diagonally, forcing Toney to the blue corner where he rips a southpaw combo. Left straight, right uppercut, both partially blocked, but the pressure's mounting. Toney counters sharp, a left hook glancing the temple, then a straight right that snaps the head back. Exchange at center ring. Hagler misses a hook. Toney doesn't, tagging the ribs. It's tactical brilliance, no wild swings, just calculated chess moves. Toney outworks it again, 10-9, but Hagler's eyes say he's loading the cannon. Toney opens round 8 with jabs, keeping distance, then slips inside for a hook to the body that Hagler absorbs like a sponge. The marvelous one charges, weaving under a cross and firing back a 3-punch burst, left, right, left. Toney rolls with the first 2, blocks the third, but you hear the leather smack. Hagler cuts off the retreat path masterfully, pinning Toney midway and ripping to the midsection, drawing a clinch. Break, and Toney erupts. 32 punches thrown, a flurry of jabs and hooks peppering the face, one cross landing flush, reddening the cheekbone. Crowds on fire, Vegas loving the back and forth. Hagler resets, feints a southpaw lead, and lunges with a hook. Miss. But Toney counters to the body. No hurt, pure skill. Hagler stalking, Toney boxing. Bell, and Toney takes it on the cards with activity. Round 9 starts with Hagler pressing early, footwork tight, forcing Toney toward the ropes. There he goes, unloading a hook cross combo. Toney blocks but slips a counter jab that puffs the eye. Lights Out circles out, fires volume. Jab, jab, cross, hook, uppercut. 5 in a blink. Landing 3, the uppercut clipping the chin. Hagler roars, bulls forward, and rips a body hook that makes Toney clinch, gasping just a bit. Bayless pries him apart, and the chess resumes. Toney pawing, drawing counters, slipping 2 Hagler rights before tagging back with a straight left. Thrown punches. Toney 30, Hagler 22, but Marvin's landing heavier. Late round exchange. Hagler misses a big left, Toney doesn't with a hook to the ribs. Toney's busier edge holds, 10-9. We're in the championship rounds, folks, as round 10 begins. Hagler stalks with purpose, feinting to draw the jab and countering viciously. Right cross to the head, hook to the body. Toney covers, rolls, and fires back a 4-punch flurry. Jab cross hook jab, peppering the guard. The crowd's deafening as Marvin cuts the ring, trapping Toney in the neutral corner for a body assault. 3 hooks that echo, making lights out reset with a wince. Toney responds with genius, slips a straight, counters with an uppercut, then circles, throwing 29 in the round. Hagler presses relentlessly, a left hook grazing the temple late, but Toney blocks and tags on the break. Tactical stalemate, but Toney's volume shines. 10-9, lights out. Hagler comes alive, weaving and charging, landing a southpaw straight right that stings Toney's nose, drawing first blood to begin round 11. Lights out shakes it, circles left, and unleashes. 6-punch combo, landing 4, hooks thudding off the arms. Hagler absorbs, counters with a body hook and presses, cutting angles to herd Toney across the ring. Toney's volume at 34 thrown, jabs snapping like whips, a cross landing clean while slipping 2 big rights. No one's wobbling, but the chess is fierce, feint, slip, counter. Midway, Hagler pins him on the ropes, ripping upstairs. Toney ducks and rips low at the bell. Here we go, the final frame. Hagler explodes like a volcano, throwing vicious combinations from the jump. Left hook, right cross, left uppercut. Toney blocks most but backs up, the crowd erupting as Marvin stalks with murder in his eyes. Lights out circles, jabs to keep distance, but Hagler closes, ripping body-head combos that have Toney covering desperately. Volume from Toney slows under the pressure. He's throwing 15, but Hagler's at 25, landing heavier. A straight right snaps the head back. With 13 seconds left, oh my God, folks, Hagler feints low, unleashes a monster right cross, staggers Toney bad, knees buckling as he falls into the ropes, the arena exploding. Hagler swarms to finish, hooks flying, but the bell saves lights out. Toney survives, slumped on the ropes, Hagler roaring in frustration. What a round for Hagler. But was it too little, too late? The fighters embrace center ring, mutual respect, as the scores come in. All 3 judges see it 115-113 for James Toney. The winner by unanimous decision of this 12-rounder is James Toney. He threw the most punches, over 300 to Hagler's 220, and blocked the majority of those Hagler bombs. What a chess match, folks. Brilliant from both. I will now return you to our Bangkok studios. Keep your guard and punches up. This is Isaac White, your favorite boxing analyst. Peace out.
Thanks so much, Isaac, for that commentary. And I could, the thing about Hagler, he's one of my favorite fighters as well. But in big fights, I'm not talking about the Hearns fight, but there would be moments where we would kind of get a little cautious. Look at the Duran fight he had, that he wasn't as aggressive. The first Antifermo fight, he'd get, even in the Sugar Ray Leonard fight, he wasn't as aggressive as he usually is. And I don't know, it was a big fight. I don't know what it was, but I could see him doing the same thing for James Toney, who's slipping and sliding, just doing the shoulder roll, double clutching the punches. I could see that happening. And that he would never hurt Hagler, but it'd be frustrating, the volume of punches. So I could actually see that. But what do you think? But and again, for those of you who I don't know if James Toney could do that, look at his old fights. Look at his style. Look how he fought. He was, like I said, he's one of my all-time favorites. He's in my top 20 as far as just fighters, period, not middleweights. Fighters, period. And where did I put Hagler? Hagler is above Toney, because we're talking about real life now. But Toney is in there. I mean, Toney is something. But anyway, what do you think? But right now, we're going to switch up now because we got to talk about a little bit of boxing history on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. And who else can do that but the one and only, your favorite martial arts expert, the champion herself, Jessica. So take it away, Jessica.
This is Jessica, your martial arts champion, with your boxing history for the week of October 12th through October 18th. October 12th, 2013, Timothy Bradley defeated Juan Manuel Marquez by split decision. October 13th, 1936, Sixto Escobar retained the world bantamweight title with a first-round knockout over Indian Quintana. October 14th, 2006, Mikkel Kessler unified the WBC and WBA super middleweight titles after knocking out Marcus Beyer. October 15th, 2005, Reggie Strickland lost for the 276th time, a record for the most professional defeats. October 16, 1942, National Boxing Association froze the titles of those serving in the armed services. October 17, 2009, Arthur Abraham defeated Jermaine Taylor with less than 10 seconds left in the fight as part of the Super 6 tournament. October 18, 2008, Bernard Hopkins defeated Kelly Pavlik via unanimous decision.
You know, I really want to I hope I can get him on the show. I think he's in Ohio. But Reggie Strickland, who has the record, he's lost, over almost 300-some fights. I think he won maybe 7 of them. But he, you know, I've seen interviews with him many years ago, and he just loved the sport. And as people would talk about him, he was competitive. He wasn't just some bum, but he would just lose fights. I'd like to really talk to him, and maybe we'll get him on the show at some point. You never know, but, you know, we'll try our best to get him on here. But right now, Jessica has another story here. This is about Sebastian Fundora. So let's hear that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Sebastian Fundora's October 25th WBC junior middleweight title defense against Keith Thurman has been postponed due to a hand injury Fundora suffered in training. Fundora's manager, Samson Lukowitz, and Premier Boxing Champions representatives confirmed the injury and postponement with ESPN on Friday, and that the entire event will be postponed. Fundora will return in January 2026, Lukowitz told ESPN. Fundora and Thurman were set to headline the PBC on Prime pay-per-view fight card at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Representatives from PBC stated that they hope to get the fight rescheduled as soon as possible, once the nature of Fundora's hand injury and recovery time is diagnosed. The co-main event between WBC junior lightweight champion Oshaki Foster and featherweight title holder Stephen Fulton will be rescheduled for a later date. It is the second time that Foster-Fulton will be rescheduled, after they were initially linked to fight in August on a proposed Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight that ended up not materializing.
Thank you so much for that, Jessica. And yeah, we'll see what happens with Fundora. He's becoming one of my favorite fighters, but I like his sister more. She can really, man, Gabriella. And I always talk about her. And I'd like to get her on the program too. You know, she's an amazing fighter. But anyway, heal up soon, Sebastian, so we can see you in the ring against Keith Thurman. And Thurman's interesting. I don't like him as a fighter, but as a person, I do. But that's a whole story in itself. But anyway, we're going to get right now. Oh, I want to tell you this. There's a book fair. Those who know me know I love going to books fairs no matter where I am in the world. And they have a number of them here in Thailand. And I went to one the other day and got this book, The Knockout, Sport's Most Decisive Moment. It's by Andy Clark, and it's from Britain. It's a hard book to get, and I was lucky to get it over here. And I'm hoping to get, maybe I'll get Andy on here at some point, but I was about to read the book, and then Malcolm and Ella took the book from me, and they read it, they vociferously read it, and they wanted to do a review of the book and talk about knockouts in general. So I said, okay, go right ahead. So right now, Malcolm and Ella talking about knockouts on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're honing in on Well, perhaps the single most decisive moment in all of sport, the knockout in boxing.
Yeah, and we're using commentator and author Andy Clark's book, The Knockout, Sport's Most Decisive Moment, as our guide.
Our aim here is to go quite a bit deeper than just the spectacle, the shock of the punch.
Right. We want to really unpack the psychology, the physiology, even the social side of the knockout, what it actually means for everyone involved, the fighter, the ref, the corner, and, us watching.
And Clark really sets the stage. He uses some pretty dramatic language, calls it the greatest finish in all of sport.
He does. Also, boxing's money shot and the ultimate sporting cataclysm. Big words.
But they feel earned when you consider his core point. The knockout's power lies in its utter finality.
Exactly. Think about it. A last-second goal, a buzzer beater in basketball. Those moments are huge, but they usually happen because the winner was already, within striking distance, as Clark puts it.
So the score, the game situation, it all builds up to that point.
Precisely. But a knockout, it just wipes everything away instantly. The clock doesn't matter. The scorecards are irrelevant. It's just over.
There's no opportunity to come back. That sudden absolute end, that's what sets it apart.
Utterly unique in that sense.
Okay, so let's start unpacking this. Clark actually breaks the knockout down, doesn't he? It's not just one thing.
No, he identifies two main types, which is quite insightful. First, you've got the type 1 KO. That's the single punch knockout.
The highlight reel stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Spectacular, he calls it. Shocking, sudden. The fight's over before you, or the fighter really processes the hit.
We're talking about those iconic moments, right? Like Sugar Ray Robinson's left hook on Gene Fulmer back in '57.
Perfect example. Or Marciano catching Jersey Joe Walcott, boom, heavyweight title changes hands just like that. It's almost poetic in its brutality.
Then there's the other kind.
Right, the type 2 knockout. Clark describes this one as slow by comparison, grueling, and crucially, often preventable.
This is the one that feels harder to watch sometimes.
It is. He calls it torture, breaking the will. It's that slow accumulation of damage where a fighter is just beaten down until their body or spirit finally gives way.
And thinking about that type 2, that cumulative damage, it makes you consider fight frequency, doesn't it? Like, look at young Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah. His pace was unbelievable.
The fight where he won his first title, knocking out Trevor Berbick in '86, that was his 13th fight of the year. 13.
That's just wild, especially when you think about the wear and tear, the risks of that kind of breakdown KO. Compare that to later champs.
Right, like Holmes or Lewis, maybe fighting 2-3 times in the year before they won their titles. Tyson was just relentless.
Putting himself at enormous risk, really, just through that sheer volume.
So, okay, we have these types of KOs, but what's actually happening inside the body? What's the science behind the lights going out?
Well, it's basically biomechanics. Dr. Neil Scott, who's the chief medical officer for the British Boxing Board of Control, he explains it. Often it's a punch landing on the jaw or the chin.
And the force travels.
Exactly. The shockwave goes along the lower mandible, that sort of horseshoe shape, and it transmits force right up into the brainstem.
So it's not just the impact spot, it's the ripple effect.
Precisely. Sonny Liston, who knew a thing or two about punching power, had a pretty graphic way of describing it. He said the brain is like jelly, sitting in fluid inside the skull, kind of in a series of cups.
Okay.
And a really violent impact basically rattles the brain out of those cups. That jarring causes a system shutdown.
The blackout, is that like a safety mechanism?
Sort of, yeah. It's the body's defense, a system overload shutting things down temporarily, and interestingly, sometimes hitting the canvas.
Can actually help.
Paradoxically, yes. The impact with the mat can sometimes jolt the brain back into place, which is why you might see a fighter momentarily seem to wake up during the count.
Wow. Okay, this leads us into maybe the most fascinating part. The mental side. The head games. Clark talks about this paradox of delusion fighters need.
Yeah, this is where it gets really complex. It's about psychological compartmentalization. It's a skill, really.
How does that work?
Well, to train properly, intensely, a fighter has to accept that getting knocked out is a real possibility. That fear is actually useful fuel. It drives the focus, the dedication in camp.
But then something has to change on fight night.
Completely. Usually during the ring walk, or maybe just before, they have to, as Clark says, flick that switch.
And just decide it's impossible.
Basically, yes. They have to convince themselves absolutely that defeat, especially by knockout, is just not going to happen to them. Not tonight.
Moses Atoma, that young heavyweight, actually said something like, you need to be delusional at times to be great.
That captures it perfectly. You're holding these two opposing ideas. Acknowledging the risk to prepare, but denying it utterly to perform, it's an incredible mental tightrope walk.
And when that belief system gets shattered, the experience itself, it's often just gone, isn't it? A void?
Totally. Amir Khan described it vividly. Getting hit, not knowing where he was, feeling like a jigsaw puzzle that's been smashed, and you've got less than 10 seconds to somehow put those pieces back together.
It's just terrifying. And then the memory loss seems almost standard.
Frighteningly so. Tony Bellew said he had no memory of the post-fight interview after the Usyk fight. Carl Froch couldn't recall being announced as world champion after beating Pascal.
Significant moments, just wiped.
Stolen, yeah. And think about the flip side. The knockout artist, the guy whose whole identity is built on delivering KOs. What happens when they get knocked out?
Deontay Wilder comes to mind immediately.
Classic example. When you're stalking trade, your whole aura is based on that power, and suddenly your cloak of invincibility is ripped away. The psychological damage is immense.
You saw it with Wilder, didn't you? The humiliation, the confidence just gone.
Absolutely shattered. And look how he reacted after the losses, the excuses about the costume, the gloves, anything but confronting the possibility that his power wasn't absolute. It shows how fragile that psychological armor can be.
Which brings us to the responsibility, right? If the fighter is maybe delusional, maybe pushing past limits, who steps in? The third party's refs and corners?
And the pressure on them is enormous, life-altering even. The referee especially, they're the sole arbiter of safety in that moment.
But it's not just safety, is it? They're juggling things.
Exactly. Fighter welfare is number one, theoretically. But they also have to weigh, the scale of the fight, the money involved for everyone, the fact that it's the entertainment business.
Referee Charlie Fitch had that analogy, comparing getting the stoppage right to hitting the apex of a pyramid.
Yeah, meaning it's almost impossibly difficult to get it perfectly right. You're always likely to be a fraction too early or, more dangerously, a fraction too late.
Does that kind of undermine the whole idea then? If perfection is impossible, are they always failing in some way?
That's a tough question. It highlights the incredible reliance on instinct, experience, and maybe just luck. And the trainers, they face the same agonizing decision from the corner. Throw the towel or not.
Joe Gallagher, the trainer, he had a pretty clear guideline, didn't he?
A very practical one. He said, if your fighter is taking a beating and the only way they can win is by doing something that he's never done in his career before, never done in the gym,
then you have to pull him out.
You have to stop it. Because otherwise, Gallagher says, you're basically just setting him up for a highlight reel knockout situation. You're failing in your duty of care.
But then you have the raw reality, like trainer Billy Graham put it.
Yeah, that was blunt. He said, look, in the ring, fighters do want to hurt the opponent. They want to keep hitting them until they drop so they'll stop hitting you.
It's primal self-preservation mixed with aggression.
Absolutely. And that instinct, combined with the warrior code, it complicates things massively.
Like Tony Bellew saying taking a knee would be the greatest dishonor, that pressure they put on themselves.
Right. It forces them to push on, often past the point of safety, because quitting feels like a bigger failure than getting physically stopped. It's a dangerous mindset, driven by pride and expectation.
It's this strange conflict. The job demands aggression, but your survival depends on someone else protecting you from your own bravery, essentially.
It's a profound dichotomy at the heart of the sport.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly to us, the audience. Clark talks about this bloodthirstiness, even links it back to the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah, he points out this really ambivalent reaction we have. We crave the knockout, right? Boxing wouldn't be boxing without knockouts, as he says. It's the ultimate climax.
But then the mood shifts instantly if a fighter goes down hard.
Completely. That collective hush, that gasp. The thrill evaporates, and it's replaced by genuine worry. Because in that second, you grasp the reality that person on the canvas could be seriously hurt, could be alive or dead.
Thomas Hearns made that point about TV, too, that it cosmetizes the violence.
Yeah, makes it cleaner, maybe more abstract than it is ringside. He argued that up close, you feel the weight of the punches, you hear the sounds, see the raw reactions. It's much starker.
Which might explain why certain knockouts feel easier to process. Like the recent Anthony Joshua versus Dubois fight.
That's a good example of what Clark might call the perfect stadium pay-per-view box office knockout. Joshua was counted out. It was decisive.
But he wasn't unconscious, glass-eyed on the floor. He was up relatively quickly.
Exactly. And that lack of immediate, terrifying visual trauma lessens that bitter aftertaste for the crowd. It delivers the finality without forcing the audience to confront the ugliest potential consequences too directly.
It's interesting looking back historically how KOs define legacies. There was a bit in the sources about who really beat the best.
Yeah, measuring fighters by their Hall of Fame opponents, it's a classic boxing debate.
Floyd Mayweather claimed he beat more than anyone. What was his count?
The sources put him at 7 recognized Hall of Famers, possibly 8 if you count Pacquiao, who isn't inducted yet, but surely will be.
And Pacquiao himself.
Pacquiao beat 8 fighters already in the Hall of Fame. Solid number.
But the undisputed king, according to the sources.
Still Sugar Ray Robinson. Just incredible. He defeated 11 Hall of Famers, names like LaMotta, Basilio, Fulmer, Graziano. Just legend after legend.
That really puts dominance in perspective.
It does, and it ties back to the risk, doesn't it? Every one of those wins involved facing someone capable of delivering that knockout blow. Which leads to, maybe, the ultimate aim for any fighter.
Which is?
Simply to leave the sport having taken more from boxing than boxing has taken from them. It sounds simple, but given the risks, especially the knockout, it's an ambition very few truly achieve.
So, wrapping this up, the knockout is so much more than just a punch, isn't it? It's this intense psychological drama playing out.
Yeah, it forces fighters to confront the deepest fears, mortality maybe, while giving us, the viewers, this raw glimpse into human vulnerability under absolutely extreme pressure.
It really is unique.
And think about this as a final thought. That absolute finality we've discussed. Other sports tried it and recoiled. Remember football's golden goal rule in overtime?
Vaguely, yeah. First score wins, game over instantly.
Right. And it didn't last long. Fans broadly didn't like how sudden and irreversible it felt. Too abrupt, maybe too brutal.
So the question for you listening is, what if other popular sports had kept that kind of immediate, decisive knockout-style ending? Would we find them more compelling or less? Would we watch more or tune out? Something to think about.
It definitely is. Thank you so much, Ella and Malcolm, for their report. And please give me my book back so I can read it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. And again, the book they're talking about is Knockout, Sport's Most Decisive Moment, and it's by Andy Clark. Check it out if you can get it somewhere, because it's a British book. And a lot of the book fairs over here in Thailand, they have books from Britain, and they have stuff from America. A lot of friends of mine, when I tell them that I've seen their books over here, they're always surprised. So, but yeah, it's great. I hope to read it. I'm sure it's a great book, but check it out. But right now, we're going to go into the music segment of our program, and we're going to have Durian Funk with their new one. This is Durian Juice, featuring Fargus, the high priest of the stinky funk. And he's going to be on lead right now. So let's hear Durian Funk and Durian Juice on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
In my hand, pushing down real tight, seeds popping out, baby, what a devilish sight. That aroma hits hard like a freight train coming, got me howling at the moon. juicy thrill. Keep on juicing, yeah, keep on juicing. I'll just squeeze that durian till the river runs free. Sticky and stinky, oh, it's driving me nuts. But I holler and hustle, yeah, that's the key. Juice me up, baby, don't you stop the flow. Pour it hot and heavy, let the good times roll. Keep on juicing, yeah, keep on juicing, yeah, all night long. Gonna make that fruit explode. Got the press in my hand, pushing down real tight. Seeds popping out, baby, what a devilish sight. That aroma hits hard like a freight train coming. Got me howling at the moon. No time for running. Messy on the table, but I love the thrill. Dig in deeper, darling, chase that juicy thrill. Keep on juicing, oh, keep on juicing, oh yeah.
Squeeze that durian till the river runs free.
Run free,
Sticky and stinky, oh, it's driving me nuts. Holler and hustle, don't quit, get right.
whoa,
Juice me up, oh, don't stop the flow.
oh no,
Hot and heavy,
hiding it,
let it overflow.
overflow.
Keep on juicing,
Juicing
keep on juicing.
all night.
Durian fever, gonna lose my mind.
Oh, Lord. Bangkok nights got me twisted. Ain't no scorpion gonna bite this soul. I stepped off that boat in the Bangkok heat. Sweat running down like a cheating man's lie. Yeah, I stepped off that boat in the Bangkok heat. Feeling lost and low, wondering why that street vendor grin pushed that black scorpion skewer my way. Said it set my spirit free. Folks back home whisper about my wild ways, called me dirty for chasing shadows abroad. Yeah, they whisper about my wild ways, judging hard like I done lost my accord. But I ain't swallowing that poison tail, no sir. It stings worse than a lover's cruel word. Oh, I ain't eating no black scorpion in Bangkok. No, no, it burns too deep in my bones. Lord have mercy. I ain't eating no black scorpion tonight. Gonna leave that devil alone. Oh, no. Let it crawl back to the market's dark heart while I rise from this falling down throne. Ooh. He promised me silk and sweet mango dreams, but left me broke in a neon lit cage. Yeah, he promised silk and them mango dreams. Now I'm dodging the rain and the rage. That scorpion's eyes gleam like his lion grin, but I got my blues to keep me unchained. Society's eyes pierce like temple bells tolling, branding me falling for dancing too free. Yeah, they pierce like them bells tolling low, saying a woman's place ain't overseas. strut these streets with my head held high, refusing that bite that's meant to break me. Oh, I ain't eating no black scorpion in Bangkok. No, no, it burns too deep in my bones.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I ain't eating no black scorpion tonight. Gonna leave that devil alone.
Oh, no.
Let it crawl back to the market's dark heart while I rise from this falling down throne. Betrayal's a scorpion in every strange land. Stings the soul till it bleeds out the truth. But I'm on my way through the hurt and the scorn. Planting my garden in this foreign youth. No more swallowing lies that taste like defeat. Oh, honey, I'm done with that bitter deceit. I ain't eating no black scorpion in Bangkok. Oh, no more. Gonna heal this weary heart on my highway. Eyes up soul. Slow down. Whoa.
All right, that was Angel Glow, a new performer over here in Bangkok, and that was I Ain't Eating No Black Scorpion in Bangkok. And only those who have been over here will know what that means, but basically you can eat bugs on a stick, or black scorpions. You know, when you're over here, especially in Bangkok, and sometimes in Pattaya and Phuket, but mainly in Bangkok, you'll see vendors with the black scorpion on a stick. If you want it, you can eat it. I haven't eaten them yet. I've eaten some bugs, but not those, not yet. And before that, we did Durian Funk, their new one. That was Durian Juice. Hope you enjoyed that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. But I got to get out of here right now. This is Greg, your presenter of the program. Go in love and go in peace and help someone along the way. And when you get up in the morning, get up, give yourself a big hug and say you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you don't love anyone, you can't do anything. So just love yourself and then go out in the community wherever you are and do what you can to help someone, be it a young person, a senior in need, an animal you may see in distress, an animal that won't bite you or hurt you, but anyway, you know, or pick up trash in your neighborhood. Don't wait for somebody else. You see trash on the ground, pick it up. Do what you can, because we're on this big blue ball together. Do what you can to make it a better place. There are folks who are starting wars and creating rumors of wars, but do what you can to make it a peaceful place. This is Greg Rashid again. See you next time on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Please become a member at patreon.com under the title Ringside Fantasy Fights and News. See you next time.